About 10 years ago, I was part of a group known as Bulletproof Doctors, along with the company Bulletproof, that brought back into popular culture low carb dieting in the form of the keto diet and fasting in the form of intermittent fasting. And over the last decade, both of those have become really popular. When the whole Bulletproof marketing plan was implemented, one of the main products that was pushed was known as bulletproof coffee. There are bulletproof coffee shops still around various parts of the country, and there are plenty of products sold under the name Bulletproof that surround the Bulletproof coffee line. Most of them are unnecessary and just marketing, but things like brain octane oil and actual bulletproof coffee beans. I personally have not used any bulletproof coffee specifically in 6 or 7 years. And the reason is that it's a really heavy beverage and it's not very nutrient dense despite the marketing. And for the last several years, I have had a schedule where I usually train. I do sports later at night and get home late, eat late, and I train at such an intensity that from the end of one practice to the next one coming up a day later or whatever it is, I'm just trying to recover. And so eating through a small window like intermittent fasting would entail just doesn't work for me because I can't get good nutrition into my body to be able to perform optimally. What intermittent fasting is really good at in reality is giving people a mental break from focusing on their nutrition. It it isn't really the best way to get lean. It isn't really the best way to get muscular. It isn't really the best way to cultivate energy. But what it does is it removes a fifth to a third of the thinking you have to do about eating every day. And there's something to that. A lot of people who get really into nutrition or fitness become obsessive or borderline obsessive about their diet, and it becomes just a fixation 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And then their well being is just as bad as somebody's well being who's struggling with just being on a healthy diet or losing weight. So that's good. And going along with that, one thing it does if you struggle with eating an appropriate diet for longevity is it can help you go for good blocks of time where your body has to stabilize your blood sugar on its own. Eating sugar all day is not good for your metabolism. It's not good for avoiding disease. It's not good for weight loss. It's not good for energy, et cetera, et cetera. So if you can't control that, then although it's not ideal, intermittent fasting for a period of the day when you're awake is a great way to kind of force that blood sugar stabilization. So, what I want to talk about today is how I hack or upgrade my coffee in a way that is not bulletproof coffee, but provides me a lot of nutrient density and also gives me the blood sugar benefits first thing in the morning, if only for an hour or two. That fasting or intermittent fasting would provide without without any of the negative side effects and without some big meal sitting in your stomach, like with bulletproof or butter coffee, that you're actually digesting while you're allegedly fasting. The first thing I do in making this upgraded coffee is I add in collagen peptides to my cup. No coffee in there yet. This is the first thing I do almost every morning of the year, and I've been doing this for years. But you get your coffee cup, and I add a scoop of collagen. Why collagen? Well, almost nobody eating the modern American diet eats anything as far as animal parts outside of the muscle or the flesh. And one of the biggest nutrients that we're missing out on is the connective tissue that not only helps us repair our tendons and ligaments, but also helps us keep our skin, hair, eyes, brain healthy. If you don't consume tendons and ligaments, your body is either going to be deficient in certain areas of your body or it's going to reduce your recovery. So your tendons and ligaments will be weaker than they should be. Your skin will uh, look older than someone like exactly the same side by side who has been consuming tendons and ligaments, which are made of collagen. Collagen works great in coffee and first thing in the morning because collagen is very stable at high temperatures. Plant-based proteins and whey protein get denatured and therefore aren't bioavailable to you when they've been put in really hot environments. And um, boiling water or steaming water or coffee or tea is hot enough to ruin it. Same thing with like making protein pancakes with whey protein. You're not actually getting a lot of protein from, even though it's loaded with powder. So collagen won't get screwed up by going in coffee. Another fun thing about collagen, it is more efficiently bioavailable when taken on an empty stomach and or in the absence of all other proteins. When your stomach detects that you have consumed protein, which are um, units of amino acids, and they're measured in grams. So you've got a chain of amino acids, and 1 gram of that is a gram of protein. And the body breaks up protein and turns it into the free form amino acids, which it then uses as building blocks all over your body. When you consume collagen without any other protein, the stomach detects that there isn't protein that needs to be broken up and therefore needs the stomach to release digestive enzymes. It accepts the collagen as what are known as peptides, but basically pre-digested, ready to work chains of amino acids. And by not consuming any other protein, when you take it in, like first thing in the morning in essentially black coffee on an empty stomach, the body just directly takes them in, doesn't start the metabolic process that's surrounding protein digestion in the stomach. And one, you don't turn on that part of your metabolism, so you're still getting the benefits of running off of fat or ketogenesis. And two, you can get the collagen peptides directly to the parts of your body that need to be repaired. I've got lots of bad joints, especially my knees, and I'm always doing any little thing I can to make them a little more stable. After a couple of days of hard training, they literally get a little loose. And the quicker that I can get their integrity back, the quicker I can go back to training at 100%. So, collagen is something important. And a lot of my teammates find benefit in using collagen. In fact, I had kind of been doubting how effective it was for a couple of years as I dealt with some injuries. And then I saw the recovery of some of my teammates just by introducing collagen into their diet. And I don't doubt it anymore. So I just take it. So putting this stuff in coffee, along with the other ingredients that I'm going to talk about, will allow you to keep your metabolism going, like you're fasting, but you'll also get some really high quality protein mixed in there that you can use, and you might not get protein that you can use in that way for your hair, nails, skin, tendons, ligaments, joints. The rest of your day, if you're just eating chicken breasts or fish or steak. So start with the collagen. The next thing I'm going to add is a single amino acid called L-theanine. I add about 100 milligrams of it. L-theanine is an amino acid that is in high concentration naturally in green tea and yerba mate. And the amino acid just so happens, for a long time, it was associated with a, uh, a balance in mood or giving you a feeling of wellness, which maybe it did, maybe it didn't. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But what they have found in recent studies is that one of the mechanisms by which it elevates mood or stabilizes mood has directly to do with caffeine metabolism. L-theanine binds to receptors in your brain that are targets for caffeine and essentially acts as a titrator or a like a crossing guard to let caffeine in that has crossed the blood-brain barrier into these receptors to be biologically active, like give you the energy or the wakefulness promotion that caffeine gives you, in a way that isn't overwhelming. Plenty of people have gotten the jitters from caffeine. It almost becomes too much. And then what do they feel? They feel a crash. And that's from the brain being flooded with caffeine, it saturating all of the receptors that it can bind to, and then it being just done. And L-theanine causes caffeine to be assimilated or metabolized in the brain much slower and gives you a more even experience of the caffeine. It helps you prevent the crash, and it also helps the caffeine last longer, like the wakefulness promotion from it. So I add this along to the collagen, and because this is a free form amino acid, there's nothing to break down. It's already pre-digested. So this doesn't turn on the metabolism that would digest the collagen. It lets everything keep passing through. I use organic medium roast beans. If you're a coffee connoisseur, you should use whatever whole bean coffee that you like. The reason that I use organic medium roast beans that I just get from Costco is because, first of all, the majority of coffee that comes into the United States has very stringent purity testing. The original Bulletproof coffee product was marketed as being free from small bacteria and mold. They called them mycotoxins that supposedly crept in on coffee, but it was skewed marketing because that was creeping into throwaway coffee that was shipped into poorer countries. But the United States tests for all of that stuff. So any high quality coffee that you're using in the United States is going to be plenty pure for you to ingest as far as drinking a cup of coffee and getting benefits from it. Medium roast coffee, the way it's roasted, produces the largest amount of uh, neurologically like brain antioxidants. You're going to get your biggest health boost from a medium roast versus a dark roast or a light roast. The light roast is going to have the most caffeine. The dark roast is going to have less caffeine, but I just go for the highest amount of antioxidants. And you can always drink a little more or less coffee as far as trying to titrate the amount of caffeine that you're taking, if that makes sense. So, medium roast beans, whole beans allow you to have a fresher product. Again, grinders are really cheap, $10 for a grinder that'll last you for years. So, just grind your own coffee. My water's boiling, so I'm going to come right back. Okay, and I use an AeroPress just because it's the most efficient way of consuming coffee outside of, like, a $500 espresso machine. But this just keeps me from being wasteful. I try not to be wasteful. I go through a lot of different stuff every day and want to make my dollars count, and also just don't want to add to, the American waste. So, little filters. With the AeroPress, one slightly rounded scoop, is 1 cup of coffee slash 1 shot of espresso, between 95 and 110 milligrams of caffeine. Goes right in there. When I'm making this coffee thing in the morning, other times of the day I'll usually just do like a shot of espresso, but I do I do more like a traditional cup of coffee or like an Americano just to help mix my ingredients. You let this thing sit for 10 seconds. Create a vacuum, and then press it out. The other thing I like about this product is you might be able to see it. See the oils coming out? You get those oils that a lot of commercial coffee makers lose. And there's a lot of really healthy shit in there as far as like for your brain and your heart. So I do that, and the collagen itself just dissolves right away. And then I got this little frother. And if I'm feeling like I want a little something else to the coffee, so this thing right here is ready to drink along with, and there are a bunch of different ways to do it, but B12 methylated folate, not everybody, folic acid can essentially cause cancer in people with certain types of DNA. So by taking methylated folate, you don't have to worry about that process. Methylated folate is basically like the bioactive version for the human body. And B12 and folate will help, depending on what time of day and what's in your stomach, will help coffee work better. Will help promote its wakefulness and its alertness aspects, and also contribute to helping this guy keep you from getting jittery or burnout from it, that kind of thing. So take that with it. And then if I want a little something else, I will add one of two things. I'll add a little bit of grass-fed butter, like a creamer. The reason that I add grass-fed butter, this Kerrygold, is that it has omega-3s in it, because grass is full of omega-3s that cows convert into bioavailable forms of omega-3s. And you can listen to one of my podcasts on the Patrick Ely podcast on Spotify and Apple, where I talk about different forms of fatty acids, if you want to understand more about that. But it's just saturated fat and omega-3s, and so it is great for metabolism. Doesn't kick you out of this fasting state as far as carbohydrates go, and helps you get a little more essential fatty acids into your diet for the day. Or I use macadamia nut oil. Macadamia nut oil is full of monounsaturated fats, omega-9s. They have heart health benefits. It has a very mild, nutty flavor, and it is very stable under high heat. So today I'll just add a little dash of that. The real biohacking reason behind doing this is that it actually slows down. And then this is a frother. Done just like that. Putting a little bit of fat in your coffee also will help slow down the digestion, the assimilation of all of the ingredients, including the caffeine, in the little fat droplets. caffeine molecules actually do get absorbed. And so then the fat has to be digested to release those. And the slower you can digest something, the more thoroughly you can get that nutrition. Um, Practically speaking, it really doesn't matter. Some mornings I just feel a little hungrier than others, and I want to go a little bit of time without having an actual meal. So I'll add it in. Other days, I just want to get a shot of coffee because it's my routine, it's my ritual. It helps me feel like I've woken up, and I won't add that part in. But I do add the theanine, the collagen, and the B vitamin. I do add that every time. Don't add any sugar. Don't add any store bought creamer that's just hydrogenated vegetable oil. Don't put regular butter in your coffee. Just trust me. Even if you don't want to spend this, I think costs like $3 for this container. I know that's probably twice the price of regular butter, but it's one of those things where, if you're just using half a teaspoon or something like that, you could get this just for your coffee and then it would last you 2 months. So it's not really that big of an expense. And doing all that is a great routine for the morning. So I'm getting important amino acids, I'm getting antioxidants for my brain. I personally will have consumed some like electrolyte water, electrolyte rich water, a little bit of sea salt, that kind of thing. Before I'm actually drinking caffeine, I do drink water, but you're getting your essential nutrients in without a lot of calories, but also you're not avoiding food and avoiding recovery. So this thing being the first thing that hits my body in the morning after like a hard night of training, as an example. And if you're a weightlifter or a runner, not just a martial artist or whatever, or even someone who does a lot of yoga, like this will benefit your joints. And so first thing, I'm getting some energy and I'm getting some recovery, and I'm still stabilizing my blood sugar, and I'm not having a calorie rich meal that is going to detract from my weight loss goals. So yeah, try doing this with your coffee in 2021. It might take you a half an hour to figure everything out for a little while in the morning, but after that you can do it in 5 minutes, and it uh, utility wise, it beats the hell out of a regular cup of coffee. Hope you get work done.